Hello everyone. Welcome. It is Thursday, November 9th, 2023, here in Dallas, Texas, on a rainy day. In fact, the temperatures are like only in the upper 50s, so it feels very fall-like, and it's supposed to rain actually all day, which we love the rain in Texas because we don't get that much of it. So excited about it's truly feeling like fall now, and of course the leaves are still on the trees, but a lot of them are starting to fall. So next on our schedule is the Sunday morning service, starting at 10 a.m. Central Time. In fact, we did I started doing an advanced level deliverance school because of the people that went through our primary deliverance school in October. And we actually did that class last night, and we're doing those classes on Wednesday nights. And those that are at the beginner level are doing those on Monday nights. So if you're interested in signing up, then you can simply go out to our website. I need to add, which I'll do over the next day or two, add the December classes that we'll be doing on online on Zoom, and put it on Eventbrite. So the next Worldwide Deliverance session is November the 26th, 9 p.m. Eastern, on Facebook, on YouTube, on TikTok, on Instagram. And the next breakthrough event is in Dallas on December the 2nd, Saturday night at 7 p.m. Central. And that's in Plano, just north of Dallas, Plano/Richardson. So the topic of the day, I'm talking about, an indicator of deliverance is selflessness. And that's a pretty strong indicator. In fact, I remember interviewing a gentleman from Iowa back earlier this year, and he said that he knew that he had been delivered because he no longer looked at people to see what he could get them to do for him. He was now interested in doing things for other people, and not having any type of selfish motives in that. And I remember back to when the Lord delivered me back in 2008. I woke up, I felt different. I heard the Lord speaking to me, and eventually started leading me towards doing ministry, and was able to walk in purity and walk in the fruit of the Spirit. And it was interesting. I was actually just talking to Mindy about this. After I was delivered, that was in 2008. I remember that for Thanksgiving, I wanted to serve others, and I ended up signing up at this local church that had these meals that they prepared for Thanksgiving, and then they had homes to have them taken to. And so I signed up to do that, and that normally wasn't who I would be. I was more selfish, and yet I changed, and I changed dramatically. And I remember looking back at that, and at the time I wasn't really cognizant, I guess, of maybe those dramatic changes in my life, but I do, when I look back now, say, wow, that was a huge indicator. I became selfless. I didn't care about doing things for myself. Of course, I had a very high-paying job, selling software to banks, and then selling all kinds of products to banks, and that was my goal before I was delivered, is to become a millionaire. So I worked really hard to make a lot of money, and then once I was delivered, it was like, okay, now I want to help people, and that's who I became. I became a person that I always kind of wanted to be, but I didn't know really how to be. And so it's a huge indicator of a person's deliverance level, is how selfish are they, how manipulative are they, versus when we're delivered, it's like, it's not about us anymore. It's about what I can do to love on other people, what I can do to help other people, people that are hurting, people that are not set free, not delivered. That's why, and Mindy sees this with me pretty much all the time. I'm trying to think of how can we get more people healed? How can we get more people delivered? I deliver people personally on sessions in the morning. I do it in the afternoon. I do it in the evenings. So I live and breathe healing and deliverance. And it's constantly something that I want to see is get people healed and delivered, because I know that that tremendously changes their trajectory of their lives. There's a lot of Christians in name only that are not healed and not delivered, that are very selfish, self-focused, want to put on an act like they are godly, and yet, behind closed doors they're not. And then there's those people that are truly healed and delivered, and they are doing things for other people, not as a show, not to say, well, look at me, not as, well, I'm doing this because I want to have someone pay me back, and give me back. I'm doing this to manipulate them so that they'll do something for me. You do it because that's what Jesus did, is he laid down his life for others. And so when we are truly healed and delivered, when we're called into ministry, we're going to lay our lives down, and we're going to sacrifice our own desires, our own selfish desires, and it's about other people and how to love them. So it's so true that that's a huge indicator of your level of deliverance. If you're continuing to walk in selfishness and you're trying to force and make other people do what you want, and you're being mean, you're being controlling, of course, there's lots of indicators. The long and the short of it is, of course, if you have a lot of fruit of the flesh, which of course Galatians, I'm going to read, Galatians talks about that, and you don't have much of the fruit of the Spirit, then that really is a huge overall indicator. But if you want to take it down to an even more minute level, how selfish are you? And you got to be honest. Again, I know people that aren't healed and aren't delivered, they wouldn't say that they're selfish whatsoever. Well, I do all these things, and oftentimes you do some things for people, you do some works, but you do it for an intention in your heart to make yourself look good to other people. Whereas people that are truly healed and delivered, they do things without any accolades, and they could care less about that. They really want to help and love on a person. So again, a huge indicator is that you're healed and you're delivered is how selfish are you? When we're not healed or delivered, we're very focused on ourselves. The demons keep giving us all these thoughts that you better make sure that you can take advantage of people, money-wise, financially, and it's all about you. It's about all your desires need to be met. You throw a fit if people don't do what you want. If you can't eat where you want to eat, if you can't entertain yourself the way you want to be entertained, it's all about you. You have to watch your shows. You can't watch what maybe your spouse or your kids would enjoy watching, or are there things that are activities-wise that you wouldn't do because you don't enjoy it, you don't want to do it because you're selfish. People that are selfless will do things that they may not enjoy, but they know that it brings them joy to other people. It's not about them. So it's a huge indicator, huge indicator of where you're at with your deliverance. A lot of people are so selfish, they're like, well, I would never tolerate having to put up with a person who is selfish, and I've noticed since my deliverance back in 2008 that I've had to be around certain people that are very hurt and wounded and selfish, and have to give in and give in and give. I remember one time I had to give my car away for several months, and it was being used by a person that didn't take care of it, that kind of trashed it on the inside, and I had to go ride my bicycle to go get my hair cut, or I had to ride my bike, whatever, 8 miles to the bank to make a deposit, things like that, so it no longer became about me when I was delivered. And those who are hurting and wounded and not delivered are going to be very selfish. Let's face it. There's a lot of us that maybe have children that maybe we have hurt, maybe we have wounded, or maybe they were hurt and wounded by our spouse, and you have to be very gentle with them. They can't take much correction, even though they may be completely wrong in their behaviors. So again, that's a huge level of where you're at with your walking this out, your healing, your deliverance, is how selfish. How selfish are you? Here we go. There we go. And again, a lot of times people, when they're not healed, they're not delivered, they're very selfish. They can throw a temper tantrum like a child because it's all about them. And oftentimes, you can see it oftentimes when a person maybe either dominates a conversation, maybe on social media, instead of posting, maybe a couple times they want to post long messages or lots of messages. It shows where they're at. Do they want to have a lot of attention drawn to them? Then that's a sign of some selfishness. When we've been healed of our soul wounds, and we've forgiven all, we've repented for pride and sin, commanded the demons to go, then we drastically change. It's not about us. We're mature. We're spiritually mature. And we don't have to dominate, maybe dominating social media, dominating local meetings. I mean, you can see people when you go to local church meetings with people that are not healed and not delivered, they're very much demanding of their own ways and very selfish. And they'll throw a fit if they don't get their way. And it's like, wow, was that the way Jesus was? I don't think so. So when you're healed and you're delivered, you don't really care about your own selfish desires. It's not about you anymore. It's about other people. So Galatians 5:19 through 26. I'm going to read this. It says, now the works of the flesh are evident, which are adultery, fornication, uncleanness, lewdness. By the way, people that struggle with the fruit of the flesh are struggling with demonic spirits. When we're healed and we're delivered, we change from that fruit of flesh to the fruit of the Spirit. So people that struggle with these are struggling with demonic spirits. They're not healed and they're not delivered. So adultery, fornication, uncleanness, lewdness, lust, pornography, masturbation, all those things. Idolatry, sorcery, hatred, contentions, jealousies, outbursts of wrath, selfish ambitions. Again, that's a fruit of the flesh. That's being driven by those demonic spirits largely, that you got hurt, you got wounded, you haven't truly forgiven, haven't repented for your pride and sin, and it's all about you. And you're very selfish, and you've got to have things done your way. And those demons are giving you those thoughts, triggering you, causing you to throw fits, temper tantrums, taking an offense at the drop of a hat. You're not spiritually mature. And there's a lot of people, Christians, call it Christians maybe in name only, that are in the church, that are in leadership positions, that are not operating the way that they should. And they're very selfish. So dissensions, heresies, envy, murders, drunkenness, partying, and the like, of which I tell you beforehand, just as I told you in times past, those who practice such things will not inherit the kingdom of God. So if you regularly practice those fruit of the flesh, you never change over to the fruit of the Spirit, you never get healed and delivered, you probably are not going to go to heaven. That's what it says. That's a huge indicator of where you're at, your spiritual walk. Are you walking in that fruit of the flesh all the time? It's all about you, you're selfish, you're about your sexual lust, fleshly desires, and you are not a godly person in that case. And it shows that, and it says it. If you regularly practice those things, you're not going to inherit the kingdom of God. You're not going to go to heaven. But the fruit of the Spirit, so when we're healed and we're delivered, again, we've truly forgiven those who've hurt us, we've repented for our pride, repented for our sin, we're going to see those changes in ourselves. We're going to be able to be honest, because we're not trying to see what kind of sin we can get away with. We're going to be selfless. It's not about us, So the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, patience. That means you can not make it about you, and you can love on other people that are not healed and not delivered. So long-suffering means I can be around people that are maybe very selfish, and I can bite my tongue, and I can love on them like Christ. Kindness. Now, people that are delivered are going to be kind. Jesus was very kind-hearted. Goodness, faithfulness, gentleness. People, there's some people that are in the church that are just very scary to be around. If you're feeling like you're scared to be around, I don't know, a pastor, pastor's wife, worship leader, intercessor, if they're going to tend to go off on you and take an offense, get mad, say things in anger and bitterness, that's a huge sign, red flag, that they've still got demonic spirits and they're not healthy to be around. And some people say, well, that's just the way that I am. I'm like, yeah, you're a bull in a china shop. You don't have the same fruit that Jesus has, and you need some more healing and forgiving of people and repenting for pride and sin. So, and then it lastly says self-control. So if you're trying to control others, then that's not a fruit of the Spirit. That's a fruit of the flesh. That's demonic. That's what Jezebel spirits do, is try to make other people do what they want. When you have self-control, you can control your urges. You can control sexual urges. You can control food that you eat. Are you eating a lot of bad food? A lot of sugary food, a lot of fried food that has no value, that can give you sickness and disease and cause you to die early? There's a lot of people in the church I've noticed that maybe they don't exercise at all, they eat horribly, and then they die in their, whatever, 40s, 50s, 60s, and it's sad because the Lord wants us to take care of our temple, eat healthy, exercise, nothing extreme. You don't have to work out for 4 hours a day, but we tend to work out, Mindy and I, for about 90 minutes in the morning, and then we love to go for walks in the evening if we're able to. And it's not being driven out of compulsion. It's driven because we enjoy doing it. We feel better. And there's a lot of people that should be doing that, but they're not. And they need to take some responsibility for themselves. Obviously, if they've been hurt and wounded, that can affect a person deeply. But you don't want to obviously do anything where, okay, I'm going to spend 4 hours in the gym, I'm going to get, and then it becomes about you. And you're being driven in an intentional way by the enemy. And I've seen people in the gyms that are like way too much, making it about their looks and vanity and so forth. And I remember back when I was back in Carmel, Indiana, going to LA Fitness, and you saw some either extremely thin people or extremely strong people, whether it be women or men. And most times it was driven because they were hurt and wounded when they were growing up, and they don't want to be hurt again. So oftentimes it can drive a person in a way that's not healthy. They don't do it for the enjoyment or for the I feel better, I enjoy this. And there's people, of course, that eat food that's not healthy for them, that is not good at all. So against such there's no law. Those who are Christ, so when you know that you're a true Christian, when you're Christ, you have crucified the flesh with its passions and desires. If we live in the Spirit, let us also walk in the Spirit. Let us not become conceited, which is pride, provoking one another, envying one another. So again, a lot of people that are not healed, not delivered, are very selfish, and they'll provoke people. They'll say things in order to get a rise out of them, in order to get them to lose their peace, in order to get them to be angry. And then they can point the finger at them once the person does that and say, look how bad that you are. You got angry. You're mean. You're an evil person. They're like, well, if you wouldn't have said what you said, that was really what provoked me. Of course, they won't take responsibility for it. So let's read some scriptures, other scriptures about selfishness. Philippians 2:3, let no one seek his own, but each one the other's well-being. Again, people that are healed and delivered, that are married, they want to do things for their spouse that would bring them joy. If say, okay, honey, you want to go shopping today? Let's go shopping together. Or if someone says, hey, I want to watch a basketball game, and then the spouse says, okay, I'll watch the game with you because I want to be with you. I want to do things with you. It's good to have commonality. So if you both enjoy going for hikes or walks, then you do those things together. But there are going to be some things that the person that you're married to enjoys that maybe you don't enjoy as much. And you may just say, you know what, I'm just going to go along because I like to be with you. And there's a lot of people, of course, that are selfish, that are like, nope, I got to have my way all the time, every time. And like if you go away on a trip, they can ruin the trip. They'll complain about everything and not want to do anything, when they're traveling, want to stay in their hotel room and complain, all the way back to getting back home. And then it's like, why did I even take you with me? All you did is ruin, the time that I was looking forward to. And that's what selfish people do. People that operate with those demonic spirits, they want to ruin everything. Same thing with holidays, same thing with birthdays, anniversaries, is they're very selfish. They don't like it to be about other people. So it's, again, a huge indicator if you're delivered or not. Okay, 1 Corinthians 10:24, no one should seek their own good, but the good of others. 1 Corinthians 13:4-5, love is patient, love is kind, it does not envy, does not boast, is not proud, it does not dishonor others, it is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered, it keeps no record of wrongs. Again, huge indicator. You're healed and delivered, you're going to be patient, you're going to be kind. Those are fruits of the Spirit. You're not going to be envious, you're not going to boast, you're not going to be proud. So it's pretty simple, pretty easy to identify people that are not healed, not delivered. You're going to be very, very selfish. So James 3:16, for where you have envy and selfish ambition, there you find disorder and every evil practice. Again, where you have envy and selfishness, you will find disorder and every evil practice. Proverbs 11:25, a generous person will prosper. Whoever refreshes others will be refreshed. Romans 15:2, each of us should please our neighbors for their good to build them up. Proverbs 18:2, fools find no pleasure in understanding, but delight in airing their own opinions. Is that not the truth? Mark 12:31, the second is this, love your neighbor as yourself. There is no commandment greater than these. 1 Corinthians 13:18, do not deceive yourselves. If any of you think you are wise by the standards of this age, you should become fools so that you may become wise. And then Psalms 119:36, turn my heart toward your statutes and not toward selfish gain. So again, huge indicator, and again, I know the people that are selfish would oftentimes not ever see this in themselves. It's those that either they're married to or those they have relationships with that will see that. And if those people speak the truth to them, they oftentimes won't receive it. They'll take an offense. How dare you? And they'll accuse you of what they are. And it's no fun, really, being around selfish people. Not at all, because it's all about them. You can't just enjoy. I love when, like, Mindy and I are around people that are healthy, that are healed, that are delivered, because you get to enjoy each other's company. You can go out to eat. You can talk about things that lift people up. You're not selfish. You don't have to make it all about yourself. And they don't say things that could hurt. And of course, you wouldn't say things to someone to cause them to feel hurt. You don't do those things. Those just wouldn't come out of your mouth. But then those that aren't healed and aren't delivered, that are selfish, they'll tend to just blurt whatever comes into their mind, which a lot of that stuff's demonic. And they'll say things and they'll hurt people. And then it's like, gee, I really don't think I want to be around this person. And then those people oftentimes will trigger. They'll take an offense. They'll feel rejected very easily. So if you end up pulling away from them, they'll oftentimes trigger on you and say, why'd you pull away? It's like, couldn't it be more obvious? What you're saying and doing is, I don't want to be around that. It's not healthy. And so understand that one of the biggest indicators of where you're at in your deliverance process is how selfish are you? How quickly do you take an offense? How demanding are you? You got to do what I want. And if you don't do what I want, then I'm going to get mad at you and I'm going to let you have it. Not healthy, obviously, whatsoever. So I have a book called Freedom from Soul Wounds and Demons. We've seen thousands of people around the world that have read it and have shared great testimonies from that. Again, it's available on Amazon in paperback, Kindle, and Audible, called Freedom from Soul Wounds and Demons. What I did is I took the thousands of sessions I've taken people through and I put that together in a book so you can read it yourself and take yourself through your own soul wound healing and deliverance session. And then also I take people through personal sessions. If you're interested in that, you can go out to the website, restored2tofreedom.com. And you can click on Contact Me. And then We will contact you and set up an appointment so that we can take you through your own personal session. Again, I do about 10 to 12 every week with people all over the world. We've seen phenomenal results. You can also call 317-459-7091, and you can leave a message and we'll get right back to you. So, alrighty, I will let you guys go. I'm not sure if I'm going to be doing a live tomorrow. I'm leading towards not, only because I've been doing so much ministry between the trainings and the personal sessions, so I may not end up doing one tomorrow, so just FYI. So, alrighty, I will let you guys go. See you.